All right, everybody, welcome to episode 3 of ITTV. We've got 3 awesome guests with us today. 3 parts of the mom squad, so all twins moms, all part of the same team. It wasn't completely planned that way, but it ended up that way. So I guess we'll kick it off. And actually, before I do that, another reminder, still got to get people following our YouTube channel so that we can get it to say youtube.com/Indiana Twins. Otherwise, it just kind of looks funky. So follow our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or want to follow us anywhere else, it's at Indiana Twins. Our Gmail account is indianatwins@gmail.com. Shoot us any questions that you may have. My name's Scott Haase. I'm a board member with the Twins and also our pitching coordinator. And on our TV today, or our computers, is 3 wonderful guests. I will let them one at a time introduce themselves. I'll kind of hand it over to each of them. Go ahead and tell us your name and what, well, I guess it's going to be a repeat, but the team that your son plays on. Tara, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Tara Rucker. Price Rucker is my son on 15U.
All right. And then next up is Kayla.
Hey, Kayla Hagerty. My son, Gage Hagerty, is on 15U as well.
And Amy.
Hey, Amy Wright. My son, Colton Wright, is on 15U as well.
Perfect. Okay, so Amy, we left off with you. We're going to just jump right into it. And if anyone has any questions at any point in time, just shoot them in the comments. I've got another computer open to look. Oh, someone said it's all good. Someone checked in. The Bovair family is here. Okay. And Instagram was going, so things are going a lot better now. We're a little bit tardy, but oh well. So hopefully no one has to go to sleep. There's no school tomorrow. There's not much going on. You guys stay home, so stay awake. Amy, we'll kick it off with you. First question. How did you first hear about the Twins?
Actually, my son had a couple of friends that joined the first Twins team, and they needed an extra pitcher, and we hadn't decided to totally go travel yet because we were still on the fence, because it's a big commitment, you know, time and money and everything. And so they had told us about the organization, and one of the kids had actually taken lessons there for a couple of years. And so everything sounded good, and he decided that he wanted to take it to the next level. So that's where we're at. And
when was that?
for him to try out.
How long ago was that?
He was 11, so this is our 5th year.
Okay, nice. All right, Kayla, I'm curious. I know I've known you outside of the Twins before you guys joined the Twins, but how long has Gage been with the Twins, and then how did you first hear about the Twins?
So Gage has been on the Twins team. This is his 2nd year, and we originally found out about the Twins through you. I had the opportunity to work with Scott's sister-in-law in ICU as a nurse, and I was looking for Gage to start pitching, and I wanted him to make sure he had lessons before we, just got up there and threw the ball type thing. And I wanted somebody that didn't know him. And I just happened to work with him, and the Lord just kind of put his sister-in-law right there, and I met you first, and he's been with you ever since.
That was how long ago?
Oh, that's when he was 9. So 5-6 years ago.
Okay, awesome. Tara, what about you?
Just good friends of ours here in Franklin said that a friend of theirs, Caleb Runn, was going to coach the 11U team, and wanted Price to try out so the boys could play together. So simple as that.
All right, so, and that was part of the reason that I was talking to Jason, our president, for those of you that don't know him, on the phone the other night and trying to figure out who to get on here. And we were trying to think of some parents that had been with the organization for a while. One of the first ones I thought of was Kayla, because we built up a good relationship with working with Gage for so long. And then we just kind of started going through some other names, and then just kind of happened to be that everyone was on the same team. So it worked out really well to then just say, hey, let's do Twins moms. We thought of some other dads too, but we can get guys on here another time. Yeah. So Tara, I still get you up. Next question. How many teams or organizations had you guys been with?
Yeah.
And what made you kind of search for another one?
Probably started on a team, other than Little League and, T-ball when he was 8, and just lasted a year, just had a bad experience. And then he was with another team for 2 years and just really noticed he had the skill in baseball and really needed to take it to the next level, and wanted a more robust program for him. And that's why we considered the Twins after hearing, what they had to offer and different elements of that program.
Yeah. Kayla, what about you?
So Gage had the opportunity to play on a brand new travel team at 9 years old and 9 and 10 years old. And we loved it. We loved them and loved the organization. And I will forever be grateful for that coach and everything he did for Gage. But with Gage's birth date, because he's only 14, he was playing a year below. And when he went into 8th grade, it was no longer going to benefit him to play on a smaller field. And just talking with you and with the Twins organization and just seeing the work ethic that I had the opportunity to see before I even had him try out for the team, that's where I knew he would need to be to grow, because he would need to be at a level where he's playing the same kids that he would play at the high school level.
Yeah. Amy?
He pretty much just played rec ball and all-stars. We got really lucky that this was his first travel team that he went with. And since we've been here, we've looked into other teams and everything, and we just really like the program. And so we feel blessed that this is the one we first joined.
All right, let's see what I've got for the next question here. We are crushing through them. For everyone that's watching, I got asked the question before we went live. How long we're going to be on? It said anywhere from 15 to an hour and 15 minutes. So we are cruising right along here. I don't have any questions yet, but please feel free to ask any questions. Let's see. Oh, someone's got a comment here. Love seeing Twin stuff. Moms make the travel ball world go round. So that's good. I would agree.
15U moms rock.
That's right.
I'm excited just to wear some Twins gear.
Yeah.
I'm missing it. So.
Yeah. Anyone else have Twins gear on?
I do.
All right.
Can't see it, but hey, we're in the spirit, right?
I actually, I don't think I've worn Twins gear there you go.
Ready.
I've set a precedent with my backwards hat. Someone was giving me a hard time for it on Monday night. So I said, I'm just going to keep wearing it because I like wearing a backwards hat.
I'll wear it sideways.
There you go.
Block the light.
All right. Let's go to Tara for the next question. So why did you choose travel baseball? Because and I asked this to the coaches on Wednesday night and actually was kind of surprised. There were some pretty moving answers. But I know that everyone is completely in a different boat, and it's not an easy decision, as a couple of you have already said. So take me through that thought process, because there's, a ton of implications when you make that jump. What made you?
Yeah. Number one is exposure. The opportunities that you're given with travel. When you play game day tournaments, you've, invited to All-Stars, which means All-American, and just the different opportunities that are given, with the tournaments and winning MVPs and different things like that, then you're invited to a even neater experience and having more opportunities to be seen. So it's just elevates you to the next level, especially if your son wants to play for a D1, D2, D3 college. I believe that's the path that you have to take.
Okay. What made you make the jump earlier on, though? Because some people would argue and say, that doesn't really matter until they're in high school.
Oh,
Which
no,
and
no,
they're
no, 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 no. That's like saying your child shouldn't start soccer at age 3. If the younger that they can start, the more comfortable, the more it feels natural to them, the more that they just uptake all those skills. I mean, we know nowadays, if they don't start early on, they are behind. You can't start in high school. You can't, it's very few sports can you start in high school and excel unless you're just, you know, a superstar, a special talent. You've got to have that foundation. You really do as a kid, and especially baseball. It's such a mental game that if you don't have that mental piece in place, you could have, you know, a hitting skill or a pitching skill. You got to have that mental piece, and that starts when you're young.
Yeah. So Kayla, I want to hear your experience with, because I know we had talked quite a bit about whether or not going the travel ball route at what point in time. You're just like everyone else, your circumstances were unique with really, really having a good experience and enjoying the teams that you were on. So what was going through your head? What made you make the jump?
So the biggest thing was I felt that the Lord gave him a talent, but it had to be around people that are going to take him to that next level of work ethic and diligent and, you know, endurance and steadfastness of what the game really is. Because baseball is so much more than let's throw the ball and hit the ball. And I have to agree with Tara about the mental aspect, and just me as a parent didn't even think about the mental aspect of the game until you guys talk about that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely right. So I did enjoy, and he got a lot of great fundamental work. But like I said, we started at a brand new organization that didn't have all the years of experience that this organization has and knowledge, because I think it's really awesome, especially you, Scott. I don't know about everybody else, but that goes to seminars and looks at current literature and really has the boys' best interest at heart, period. Just make them the best they can be. And what that is, nobody knows. But at this time, they're the best that they can be.
So Amy, I'm sure you had a unique experience, as we all do. So what made you make the jump to travel baseball?
Just, I think kids have different levels of ability, and Colton was, you know, blessed with the talent of baseball, and the rec ball that he played, he really enjoyed the All-Stars, but a lot of those kids had switched to gone travel, and it was just the passion wasn't there and the dedication wasn't there. I mean, he had fun, but he would get frustrated because those kids don't always take the game as seriously. And so he really, we debated on it back and forth because he just wasn't having as much fun as he thought he could have, because that's his passion and his love. And he just thought that it would be best to see how it went and, you know, have the competition. And when he got there, you know, he realized that the kids, you know, were dedicated like he was. And so it just made the game a whole lot better for him, and he had a lot more fun, and he was learning more, and he was advancing, and you know, he got really good coaches and instructors, and so they just helped him tremendously on how he played and his abilities, and so it was a really good move for him.
Yeah. So Amy, I'm going to come back to you. And I prefaced this Wednesday when I talked about it. There isn't a right answer, so to speak, because, you know, cream will always rise to the top. You don't have to play travel baseball if you're an absolute stud and you're just gonna, I don't know, you show up on the field and people are gonna watch you. Scouts are gonna see you. So there's reasons on both ends, but I want to hear, because I don't want this to be just a like pro travel baseball, because although obviously we're all in it and we're all a big fan of it, I want to hear, like Amy, you alluded to, and for everybody else too, I'll come back to. But Amy, you were talking about how you debated back and forth. So what was holding you back? Because I know a lot of people that are going to watch this. I even texted a buddy, said, hey, you know, your wife might want to, you know, jump in and look at this, because they go back and forth on, is it the right time? Should I do it later? Should I not do it? Should I do training on the side? And that'll give me a lot of the same benefits, and maybe doesn't cost as much, the time. And we'll get into multiple sports next.
Okay. Well, we debated it because it's such a time commitment and it's very expensive, and it's just a lot, when you take in all they have to do and all the hours that they're there and all the work that they put into it. And, at that age, it's kind of like, he's still playing all kinds of sports, and, he's been at basketball since he was little, and he, went cross country and track and, all. So it was, do we want to put the time commitment into just baseball? But we were able to make it work when he was younger. With doing both, it was a lot, but he thought that it was worth it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think, a personal, what your kid wants to do. A lot of what he wanted to do, what was he happy with? And,
Yeah.
because he's the one that has to put in the hours. He's the one that has, it's just, what he wants to do.
Yeah. Well, let's go into that a little bit. So what was it like with the multiple sports and driving and all that? Because obviously can't be easy. I've got a 11-month-old, so I have no idea at this point right now what it really looks like. So Amy, what did that look like?
It was a lot. But when they first started, they were only about 10-15 minutes from our house. So a lot of times if he would have basketball practice, then he would, be able to go to practice, and then we would leave straight from there and be 10 minutes late to, basketball. And there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of hours, but
Yeah.
I was blessed to work from home. And so it made it a lot easier, I think, for me to be able to transport him back and forth and to be able to get to all the different places he had to be.
Yeah. Kayla, what's your take?
I think I agree with Amy, but I think the biggest thing is, talking to the kiddo. Gage still to this day gets excited that he has baseball practice. Like, baseball practice isn't going on. What do you mean? So, you just have to make that decision on what's worth it. And him, every penny I've ever put into him going to these practices and these games and the twins and extra lessons, and it's worth it because it's teaching him about time and commitment and work ethic. And we talk about the finances, and this is a lot of money. So are we going to be serious about this? Because you have to let not your other teammates down too, because everybody is serious on the team. So that's important too. And he's played basketball. He does show choir. We just make it work. I work a lot in my car.
All right, Tara, how about you? Travel baseball, multiple sports, the bad, the good, the ugly.
Yeah. Your summer's taken up, every weekend. But I look back at it and those are memories. I'm with this wonderful group of families. We've gotten so close, and we enjoy doing the out-of-state ones where we just have such a great time. These are some of Price's best friends. I know when we were about to try out for 15U, most of the boys tried out for teams because you don't know. High school's a whole different game even for travel. He refused to try out for anyone else. He said, if I don't make the twins, I don't play for anybody else.
Wow.
I had his coach, his assistant coaches call him and say, buddy, you got to do this. There's no guarantee. And he goes, nope, I'm only playing for the twins. So the relationships he has built means everything to him. And yeah, it's a lot of weekends, but I love sitting in that chair and watching the game. And when my son makes that hit and looks at me first, it's all worth it. So.
Was Price doing tennis, or wasn't he doing another sport before?
Yeah, he does tennis. So luckily that's a fall sport. So we really don't have conflict. He was doing swimming, but he's now down to tennis and baseball. Yeah.
Okay. And they don't cross over too much?
No, there was some with high school practices. He missed some of that because of tennis, but with travel, it wasn't a conflict at all.
Yeah.
We're lucky there. But.
Yeah. Well, there's something that you had said that maybe I'll come back to it. Well, while you're still on here, let's just get your take. What is your favorite part about the twins?
So I can't say one thing. I have to give multiple things, okay?
That's okay. We've got time.
Okay. Number one is mental training. I never, ever thought of that before. I had heard baseball is such a mental game, but to train your boys to take time out of practice and sit and talk about the mental piece, to know how to walk up to that plate or know how to get on that mound and be in the right mindset, it is critical. And that the twins have a whole program, curriculum put together just to speak to that really impressed me. And it was really cool when Price would come home and we'd talk about that piece. And some of the things he told me, I thought, never thought about that. So it's really changed when he's on the mound or when he's up to hit. I can tell some of the things that you guys have discussed in the mental training piece of it, I see him doing. So I thought that was really cool. Also, the parent education that Jason has sent out, just keeping us informed and letting us know the ever-changing stuff that's going on. So I can tell that the staff has stayed on top of the latest and greatest in baseball. I mean, my husband played college ball and he goes, oh my gosh, this has really changed since I played, and never knew that. And so he was glad that we could stay on top of it. So if we went out an evening and threw ball or whatever, he was on the same wavelength as you guys were teaching him. Also, that the opportunities given to the kids. So one season they may not pitch, but there may be interest, or they worked really hard off season, that the twins are willing to give these boys that opportunity, that they aren't pigeonholed into the position that they came into the organization as. So I've seen boys, again, this is my 5th year. I've seen boys that started out playing first base and now they're pitching and playing third because that's what they wanted to do. They weren't stuck. And I think too many organizations do that. Sorry, 2 more things. The e-learning that keeping the boys informed of through e-learning. So it's not just all the on-site stuff during practice. They're also given videos and quizzes to take when they're at home, and sent to the parents too, so we can stay on top of that and make sure we're on the, again, same wavelength. And finally, just the sense of family. Oh my goodness. Some of these families are some of my good friends. And it's just been incredible how we've all grown together and how the twins have really encouraged that relationship, because I think if you're not as strong as families together, you're not going to have a strong team. So that's all my one thing.
No, that's good. I appreciate it. And I was going to say, so historically we've had Jeff Stout, who's usually our 17U coach and takes care of recruiting. When he talks to the parents during tryouts, he actually says that we may or may not take a PO. Typically 17U, maybe 16U, maybe 15U, they'll take a PO. But the charge, what we charge them is actually the same across the board. There isn't like a $500 discount or something for a PO, at least that I know of off the top of my head, because they're getting so much training in the off season, to your point, Tara, that they can do hitting lessons or training, and they can do performance training, they do mental training, they do pitching, they get exposed to all of it. And I know in the last couple of years that when Coach Stout with the 17U team had guys, whether it was they didn't perform or just didn't show up because, you know, there's things going on this summer or whatever, and you needed a guy, he had POs that ended up becoming a 3-hole hitter. So, I mean, yeah, we definitely don't pigeonhole guys, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, yeah.
Kayla, 2 things. One, Tara already talked about it, so I'm going to ask you. I remembered it, and then we'll get back to your favorite part. But tell me about, because I know you've, again, talked to me about this in the past. Tara said that Price was said, this is all I'm trying out for. Whereas you've gone at it a couple different ways, a few different years, because we tell players, no matter who you are in the organization, that your spot is not guaranteed, regardless of the age, the team, whatever it is, not guaranteed. So tell me about that coming into the Twins and then after, being on the team and that.
So with the 15U team, again, being high school, no spot is guaranteed. And Gage and I spoke about that at length. And of course he was like, I want to play for the Twins. He loves the camaraderie that he had. He loves the organization. He's familiar with it as well. But he was like, well, I want to play baseball, so I'll go and try out. And if I make no team, then I can play rec ball. So like in his thought process, he's like, I can still play baseball. So, and that's what he wants to do, is play baseball. Of course, he had his order of what he would want to do. Yeah. And we were lucky enough that he was able to make the team again this year, which he is more than ecstatic about. And then I think my favorite thing about the organization is just how up to date you are. I think it's pivotal to stay up to date on current literature, because everything is ever changing on not only just pitching, but how they throw the ball, how they're hitting now, and I really can appreciate that the organization coaching staff is fluid. So he's had multiple hitting coaches and pitching coaches, but the thought process and everything is the same through every coach. So I find that to be pivotal as well, because you talk about mental training and everything, and you guys are invested in that thought process. And so it does translate to the boys, because it's been really cool to see how Gage has grown over the years, just in the knowledge of the game, not just the talent or the actual playing of the game, which is important, but it's like chess. You have to be knowledgeable about what's going to happen if this ball's coming at me now. What do I do? So I think that's really cool that he has learned that, and it's just fun to see him grow that way.
Yeah. So Amy, been with the Twins for a while now, and every year the players are told you're not guaranteed a spot. What goes through your mind, Colton's mind, your family's mind? What's that been like each year?
Well, it's like that time of year. I don't think we've had to look into other organizations, and by doing that, we've felt like the Twins is the best for him, just because of it is the relationships built with the coaches, with the kids, and these kids, they're like family to each other. And so, have to look at maybe possibly having to go somewhere else. Of course, somewhere else, because he, wants to be able to play baseball. But of course, the Twins have always been his first choice, and he loves the relationships that he has and what he's learned. And difficult time of year, I think, when it all rolls around.
Yeah. So what's your
Especially
favorite
for the moms,
thing?
since it's a mom's interview, the moms get together and we're all like, oh my goodness. Yeah. There's been a lot of conversations about that, and there's texts going out constantly, and so then every time you make the team, it's a real everybody's excited and the kids are excited. There's been a few tears quite a few times, actually, and yeah, it's an emotional time.
Yeah. So on a more positive note, what's your favorite thing about the Twins?
Well, I have a hard time just picking one. On a personal
hey, do your list. I did.
Personal standpoint, I have to say, the relationships. Like, these kids, it's been good kids. They've been, nice and respectful, and the coaches, and just, he's had a lot of good role models by the dads and everybody that steps up to help with practices, and he's met a lot of good friends, and the parents have really meshed together real well, and it's like a big family. So that would be my personal best part about it. As far as actual baseball goes, I'd have to say that I really like the way that the Twins organization, everything is consistent. Like, there's so much consistency, and the team, that a lot of that has changed and grown, and the organization has just grown tremendously. But like, he was playing ball and he was taking lessons, and so you'd have a coach telling one thing, and then you'd have the hitting instructor and the pitching instructor telling him something different. And so been really nice that he's been able to have the consistency from the coaches to the assistant coaches to the instructors to everybody that's, year after year. It's like they build on, what, he was so young that he learned the basics, and every year they add to that. And they, just instead of doing a whole new form, they get to work with what he has and what he's established, and everybody's on the same page and nobody's telling him to do different things. So year after year, it's just building to where he's at.
Yeah. Anyone of the three of you, I'm going to just unpin because I keep pinning to make sure no one else jumps up. Of course, Kayla's up right now. There's got to be some kind of noise back there. Or I just don't speak loud enough or something, but mine never pops up for whatever reason. But who has something to add? I've got Q&A. We've got time for that if we want to, if anyone wants to ask any questions. We're not getting any questions right now, which is fine. But what's something that Amy, I think we were talking about the texts that go and a stressful time of year. What are the other things that like the coaches aren't seeing, the instructors aren't seeing, the players aren't seeing that's going on behind the scenes within the year, whether it's with the Twins or things that just, I don't know if it doesn't have to be negative or positive, but just some things that maybe parents, I guess I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a parent that hasn't joined the Twins or maybe hasn't even joined travel baseball and is curious what goes on behind closed doors, what's really going on over there with that organization. Like, what do you think that isn't public or isn't common knowledge to people about what's going on?
Well,
okay.
I think the one thing that I can appreciate that I have just observed on my own is the honesty that everybody has. Like there's no beat around the bush. These are our expectations. This is what's going to happen if these expectations are not met. And I think that's huge in anything, in all areas of life, is if you don't know the expectation, then how are you supposed to meet it? And I can appreciate that they do that, and it's on a consistent basis.
I mean,
I have to say that, sorry, Tara. I'd have to say that I really like the way that the parent feedback, there's parent feedback, and, you guys really listen to that because we did have some issues, with practice overlapping. And I know as the years have gone on, Jason has tried to look at that and fix that. And so now we have like A weeks and B weeks where if you can't make something, then on this week, A weeks, you can make it on Tuesday, Thursday, the next week, might not be able to. And I just like that if I've ever had a problem, it's been answered. And, you don't always know that when you go into an organization, how that's going to be handled. And it's been taken care of every time we've had an issue, never had any big issues, every time we've had a concern or feedback, it's really been listened to.
Well, and I think that's true with any organization. It's not rainbows and unicorns. We've had some good bumps, but again, have spoken up, and I know some things have been addressed and taken care of. So I think that's important with any organization, an open door policy, and Jason has made that quite clear. And any communication that he's sent out is just like, contact me if you have an issue. I want to take care of it. He's not a shy guy. He's let's talk and let's deal with it and move on. But you're kidding yourself if you join any organization and it's, you think it's smooth sailing. So if you have a problem, I have found that this organization listens.
Okay, Tara, while you're up here, I got a question. Favorite thing about seeing your boy on the field?
Makes them happy. That, you can tell it's in his blood. And these ladies know how excited I get when game's going on. I'm not a quiet person at all.
No.
The boys even make fun of me too, because I get very excited. And in a good way, I think in a good way, but it's just the excitement of watching them out there. I don't know. I feel like I'm on a different plane when the boys are playing. It's euphoria almost. I don't know. I'm missing it really bad. But it's just neat. And as I said before, when your child makes a really cool play or makes a great hit or has an awesome pitch and they look over to you, there's nothing like it.
Kayla, what about you?
I have to say real fast too, that's another good thing about what's behind the scenes is that the moms and the dads support every child on the team. It's not just your one child. They do, and that's one thing that I have noticed last year as being new to the team last year is everybody supported Gage every at bat, every pitch, and every play, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. And I found that, and that's hard to find sometimes. So I can appreciate that. But I just get it's just joy when you see your child doing what they love. And seeing Gage in the outfield out there, he just runs so gracefully, and that you would never know that, like watching him walk. But man, when he can just go and catch that ball, and it's just pretty, and he's just so happy. And when he looks at you and gives you the thumbs up, or he's dancing or something, he's having a good day.
That's awesome. Amy, what about Colton?
I think it's, as a parent, you watch your kids learn things. And so to see them put in so much work and then be able to just go out there and you can just see that they're so happy when they're playing. And, when they make that great catch or that diving catch that he loves to do, it's just, you see the joy in them, which gives you joy. Just to see him grow year after year. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah. Well, if either of you have something else that you want to add, go ahead. I'll just kind of in closing or pre-closing, if there's anything else, say thank you to the three of you for coming on. Thank you to the three of you for being part of the organization for so long in a bunch of different ways and helping out in a lot of different ways. We value you. I know Jason values you a lot, and your kids. They're great. We talked earlier about tryouts and everything. Part of the component of that is what type of family are we getting ourselves into? Is this a really good situation with the family or not a really good situation with the family? They don't communicate well. They don't show up to things, all those types of things. Those all come into play during tryouts. Jason has always done a really good job. Sometimes it can kind of bite us in the butt, but he does a really, really good job of saying, you are the coach, you are picking your team. I'd say 98 times out of 100, he lets the coach choose their players. That is their team. Now, obviously, as an organization, there are things that we teach. There are some, obviously, things across the board. But he does a really good job of empowering the coaches and saying, you do you. This is your team. I trust you. Because he, handpicks those guys. We interview guys, and he trusts them. But there are a few cases where I know when Gage tried it out, and I knew Gage, for 14U, and I was like, I know his mom. She's an awesome sport parent. Like, this is the type of person that if you want a player that is pretty good and has a great family, like this is the type of person. You guys can see his talent. I'm not going to tell you about his talent. You guys can watch it on the field during tryouts, but this is a great family. And with Tara, with Amy, with your families, same situation where, let's say next year, 15 guys show up for 16U trial and they're all throwing 95 miles per hour and they're all hitting bombs. It's going to be a really tough conversation because that coach is going to want to pick all those guys. But at the same time, we might say, hey, that guy might be really good, but I've talked to his brother-in-law and him and 4 of his other buddies that tried out with him are a bunch of bums. They never show up to things. They screw around. They have bad attitudes. They cuss all the time. They just, we'll take those things into consideration. So I'm glad that got brought up. And the three of you, again, 3 of the first handful of people, probably 3 of the first moms that we had talked through just in passing, Jason and I on the phone about who we wanted to bring on. So I appreciate the 3 of you. And is there anything else that you guys wanted to add?
I just had a couple things. First of all, my daughters would like to have a sister panel. and talk about how cool it is to.
We got to get players on first.
I thought it was cute because they really enjoy the other brothers and sisters that come. And they always have such a great time as well. So they look forward to actually coming to the game. So, but what I was impressed with last year, just where these boys excel. Every one of our team members made All-State. A lot of the boys made All-Stars, and some of them made All-American. So just the level, the training that these boys have received to have these additional opportunities has been very impressive.
Amy or Kayla, anything you want to add before we close up shop?
Nope. Thanks for all that you do. I appreciate you.
Yep, we appreciate the organization and all the time that everybody puts in. And one thing that I didn't hear brought up that I like as a parent is I feel like I can trust my kid. You guys are watching the pitch counts. You're watching, if there's an injury, then they're sitting out. I actually had his coach tell me if he comes to practice, I'm going to carry him back to the car. Like he's rest. And so you got a lot of kids that at this point, they're really dedicated. And I just like that the organization and the coaches, they're really watching out for the kids to make sure that they, don't have those injuries at such a young age.
Well, 3 of you are getting some shout outs right now on Facebook. There are a couple of them saying, thank you for your insight and you moms are awesome. So I appreciate it. All right. Well, if that is it, feel free to let us know if you have any questions or anything on any of the social medias at NENO Twins, and we will end this session. So thanks, everybody.